The world spun. John blinked, trying to clear his vision. His ears rang with a high-pitched whine. The smell of burnt rubber and gasoline filled the air. He remembered the screeching tires, the sickening crunch of metal. His car was wrapped around a telephone pole. John unbuckled his seatbelt, surprised he was still in one piece. He felt a dull ache in his head, nothing more. He stepped out of the wreckage, his legs shaky. A passing motorist stopped, calling for an ambulance. John sat on the curb, the world a blurry, disorienting mess. At the hospital, doctors whisked him away for scans and tests. They marveled at his lack of injuries. It was a miracle, they said. John felt a chill run down his spine. Something wasn't right. It felt like something was watching him, whispering in the back of his mind. He pushed the feeling away, attributing it to shock. But the feeling persisted, a constant murmur in the darkness of his thoughts. Days turned into a week. John remained under observation, the doctors baffled by his clean bill of health. However, his blood work told a different story. Dr. Evans, a nervous man with thinning hair, entered John's room, his face pale. He explained that they had found something unusual in John's system, a type of parasitic nematode. This microscopic worm had burrowed into his brain. It was a rare occurrence, practically unheard of. John listened, a cold dread settling in his stomach. The doctors had already started him on a course of strong antiparasitic medication. They assured him it would be eliminated within days. John, still reeling from the shock, could only nod dumbly, but a seed of unease had been planted. Why hadn't they told him sooner? Their explanation, that they didn't want to alarm him, seemed flimsy at best. John felt a surge of anger, a sense of betrayal. They had treated him like a child, keeping secrets. Little did he know their secrecy was for a far more unsettling reason. The medication seemed to be working. John's headaches subsided, and the whispering in his mind faded to a distant hum. He was due to be discharged the next day. But that night, the earth moved. John was jolted awake by a deep, guttural roar. The hospital room shook violently. Ceiling tiles rained down as screams echoed through the hallways. Patients and staff alike were thrown into a panic. John clung to his bed, fear gripping his heart. Through the window he saw it. A massive, segmented body, easily over a mile long, rose from the earth. Its glistening, chitinous exoskeleton glinted in the moonlight. The ground split and cracked under its immense weight. It was a worm, but one of unimaginable size and power. The ground continued to tremble as another worm even larger than the first erupted from the earth miles away. The world was being reshaped before John's very eyes, and he knew with chilling certainty that the parasite inside him was somehow connected to this cataclysmic event. Panic gripped the city, then the world. The giant worms, dozens of them, emerged from the bowels of the earth. They moved with surprising speed and agility, their massive bodies crushing buildings and uprooting trees. They spoke, their voices deep, resonating tremors that shook the very foundations of civilization. John lay in his hospital bed, his body racked with tremors. The medication meant to kill the parasite had instead become a conduit, amplifying its power. He felt his own consciousness fading, his body no longer his own. "We are the protectors!" A voice boomed inside his head, ancient and powerful. "We are the guardians of this world." John opened his mouth, his voice a hollow echo of the being that now controlled him. The parasite, it seemed, had a message for mankind, and it was going to use John as its mouthpiece. The world watched in horror as John, his eyes glowing with an eerie light, spoke of a symbiotic relationship, a delicate balance between humanity and the worms. He spoke of a time long ago when the nematodes had formed a pact with the creatures of Earth, ensuring their survival.